I gotta say, this is the hottest stake of the internet right now. So, the lady, which has murdered not one, not two, but three of her children in a very nightmarish scenario by summoning them into the basement and strangling them while two kids were watching, then strangling them while the third one was watching, and then strangling the third one as well. And apparently, like, no feminist can picture themselves into the shoes of the children while their own mother would do this to them, right? Like, they seem to lack the imagination. But we're talking about this lady, and the lawyer is saying that she was a darn good mother. Now, look, I understand that it's the lawyer's job in order to defend the person and say whatever, but I'm legitimately curious, like, what would the bad mother look like, in his opinion? Like, what did you guys, like, be curious? Because, like, okay, fine, you know, like, the lawyer is saying that she is a darn good mother. Like, maybe his standards are pretty low. But, like, tell me what the bad mother looks like. And then there is something that I particularly posted, which is the updated list of what men want from women in 2026. Because, you know, like, women have their own lists, and he needs to be tall, he needs to be dark and handsome, he needs to be 6'1", he needs to be a billionaire, he needs to be compassionate and understanding and caring. Meanwhile, for men, this seems to be the list right now, right? Like, if you go on the internet, I'm not kidding, most men would be satisfied at this point if they get these two things. Because, yes, we do live in a society where the standards are pretty low. Meanwhile, a lot of people are upset over the jury deliberations, right? So, the reason they're upset is because the judge is allowing manslaughter to be on the list. And a lot of people are upset on the judge. I don't really know why that is, because I guess they don't understand how the American judicial system works. But let me tell you this way. If you actually have a jury and you're pushing them to vote between the extremes. So, like, for example, completely guilty, right? Like the chair or life or whatever, versus not guilty. Now, if the people in the jury, like, genuinely believes that she doesn't deserve the bad punishment that is on the list, they can do jury nullification. And there have been cases where this happened. So, like, for example, if you have a person that the jury believes they deserve 5 years, but on the list, you only have 20 years or not guilty. The jury can choose nullification, they vote not guilty, and the person walks. So, like, these types of cases have happened. The judges are aware that these types of cases exist, and so, like, obviously, they will put, you know, as many different punishments as they can on the list. And in this case, you have manslaughter. Now, you also need to take into account the way that the judicial system works. It is beyond any reasonable doubt, right? So, in this situation, the jury has to be sure that like, at the moment that she killed her kids, her mind was clear, that she actually knew what she was doing. That not necessarily that she premeditated it, but she was aware that she was killing her kids. And the pills, either she didn't take them there, or the effects didn't cause her to kill them, or she actually understood what she was doing despite of the pill side effects. Right? Like, this is what they actually have to vote on. So, I haven't actually listened to the trial. I do notice that there's a lot of people saying one thing or another on the internet, and at this point, the trial is being propagandized, and there's a lot of misinformation going on. Some people exaggerate what she did, other people completely downplay it. And so, I don't know, right? Like, I would have to actually look at the entire trial and see for myself before I could tell you how I would vote. But the argument that her lawyer is making is to blame Big Pharma, right? And this is pretty much where all the feminists are jumping in, and they're basically saying, well, she's innocent and Big Pharma is guilty. And for those of you that watch my channel, you know that in that case, we can also excuse Adolf Hitler, right? Because Adolf Hitler was also given methamphetamine by his doctor, like legally prescribed at the time. And methamphetamine does actually make people be extremely violent and paranoid. And actually, the same argument can also be made of the entire German army, right? So if we now believe that simply being prescribed drugs allows you to kill children, then, well, it would also excuse everything that the Nazi army did, right? Because they were also under the influence of medication prescribed at the time by their doctors. This is why I do not accept the thing. It could be an alleviating circumstance, as I said. However, it does not wash away the guilt. So I do not think that she would be found not guilty. However, Polymarket seems to disagree with me. Apparently, 72% of people were absolutely convinced that there is going to be no murder conviction. However, in the last couple of hours, as you can see here, the chances of her getting convicted have risen from 25 to 41%, specifically because the judge has included the manslaughter cause into the possibility of options the jury has, right? So, like, again, I do think that the judge did the right thing by adding that clause, which, by the way, may not even end up being selected, and they may actually just condemn her of murder. From what I understood is that they actually did play the tape, the 911 call from the father to the authorities, and it was actually heartbreaking. And so no matter who's on the jury, like, unless they got like a couple of rabid feminists that are ideologically possessed, if they happen to be women and they genuinely have a vagina, they will probably sympathize with the children. Despite what internet spurgs think, women are actually biologically hardwired to care about children. At least the women in my life, right? Like, maybe something happened in the West, in the Anglosphere, and women don't care about children anymore. But again, like, outside of the internet, and especially outside of the feminist sphere, most women are genuinely very sympathetic with children, and they also vote a lot in favor of kids. And so I find it difficult to believe that they will find her not guilty, regardless of what Polymarket is saying and regardless of what other people are saying. Like, I would be extremely shocked if that is the case, and the next moment I would start looking at the actual case files and try to see, like, how could people have come up with such a decision. Also, am I correct? Like, the jury is secluded, right? Like, they don't have access to the internet and the public opinion. Like, they're isolated from what we're discussing here, and so the chance of her being found not guilty are quite diminished. But anyway, at the end of the day, I genuinely do not care about Lindsay as a person because I'm not an ambulance chaser. Like, horrible murderers and criminals exist out there in a population of 350 million people. There's probably a lot more than Lindsay. But what shocks me is the same thing that shocked me in the case of Charlie Kirk. It's not the event itself, which is already horrible, but it's the way people reacted around the event. And no matter how many feminists will say, well, yeah, but like, men commit worse crimes, that is true enough, but I have yet to see a man committing such a heinous crime and becoming a millionaire for it. That is the thing that's shocking. And this is what a lot of leftists pretend not to understand. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, we'll see each other in the comment section. Take care.